Gentlemen, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So let's start with the obvious. What on earth is happening there, and how have you let this bill get so high? Mayor?
Thank you very much for affording us an opportunity to engage with our public, residents, and the nation at large. Let me first explain the issue of the bill on water. Remember that we are losing almost 40% of water that we lose underground because of the leakages in the underground water. So also the collection rate on water itself is not good enough. So the bill has gone up because of payments on water, losing water that is not accounted for. So on the side of rent water, of course, the bill will come as the way they release water to us. So it has been actually that kind of a scenario where we are trying to fix our pipeline, which has a lot of leakages, but it is also increasing our debt because we are losing almost 40% of this water that is not accounted for in the municipality.
That just sounds like an excuse, Mayor. Those are circumstances, of course, that should have been dealt with because you say 40% leaks. That should have been fixed by your municipality. And then the other issue is non-payment from residents. So, Willy, let's bring you into the conversation as lead administrator. Rand Water says it's been trying to get this money for quite some time, but they still haven't. Why? Do you have this money, and why are you not giving it to them?
Okay, good afternoon to your listeners. At the moment, the municipality is not having that type of money. We are busy trying to negotiate with them because our current financial status does not allow us to can pay. However, we have entered into a repayment plan with them, and we are still going to have another meeting this week. We're supposed to have one today. Unfortunately, we had given them a short notice. Our previous repayment plan was still being considered by the board, and unfortunately, they then took a defaulting notice approach. So we are in the process of rearranging a repayment plan on our debt. This is a debt that comes from very far. Many years back, it's a historic debt. We are having water leakages and a lot of, infringements into the system. This then increases our debt to the rent water. But one must also be aware of the fact that we've had a COVID-19 situation where we have a number of our people who have been laid off from work, and as such, they are not in a position to can service their accounts with the municipality.
Willy, do you know what the key words for me in what you said was? You said you gave Rand Water short notice, which means it's your fault ultimately, because if you properly planned and notified Rand Water about your financial difficulties, which is on your own doing, by the way, as well, then this wouldn't have been the case, because ultimately you have residents who are suffering because of the short notice you gave Rand Water.
We did have a discussion with them at the beginning and during the month of October. We were still waiting for them to return to us in terms of their attitude towards a repayment plan that had previously been submitted to them without any response. At the last meeting that we had with them in October, we were advised that they were still going to seek for the approval of the board. And immediately thereafter, last week, towards the end of the week, we then received this notice that they will reduce the surplus, the supply by 20% reduction. But that has not been implemented as yet, because as I've indicated, we are communicating with them to further the discussions that we had in October on the repayment plan that we have placed before them. So we are still forging ahead. We still have a serious intent to finalize a repayment arrangement with the Rand Water Board.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good enough. Mayor, let's bring you back into this conversation. In March, you owed Eskom 2.3 billion rand. What's happening with the money in this municipality? Why are you not making these key payments so that residents can get water and electricity?
I must say the issue of the collection of revenue in this municipality since the lockdown has gone tremendously down. At the rate at which we were able to collect revenue, we were almost at around 74%. So since the lockdown in March, we have gone actually to the lowest point where almost losing almost about 200 million rand of cash that we're supposed to have. So it is a challenge. So province did its level best to engage our bulk suppliers, but actually trying to mitigate this problem earlier during those highest levels of lockdown. So engagements are on, and we actually want to say what we have presented to Rand Water. I'm positive that they are going to accept the proposal that we have presented, because there is a demonstration from our side that we are going to work hard to service our bill. And then when you come to Rand Water is the most understanding agency, because you look at the loss of water that I articulated earlier on. They were able to train our young people, deploying them in strategic areas where they launch a campaign on war on leakages. So working with Rand Water for me is more easier than the other one, because there is dialogue. So there are attempts to resolve the problem.
Yeah.
The only issue that is at stake now is our cash flow. If that can actually be corrected, we are hopeful that the meeting that they will agree or propose this week, we are actually the plan that we are going to table. I'm positive that they are going to adopt it.
Yeah, Mayor, the thing is that Eskom said you owed them 2.3 billion rand on the 10th of March, and the lockdown only came into effect on the 27th of March this year. So ultimately, you've been failing to get your money and finances right for a long time. So it seems like you are failing the people of Emfuleni.
It will be easy for a reporter to say that, remember that we are dealing with an old debt, a historical debt here. We are not dealing with a debt of 4 years. We are dealing with historical debt. And what is more serious about the Eskom debt is the interest rates on the amount owed. So hence, in one of the discussions that we had with them in Johannesburg, we were discussing whether maybe we should negotiate the interest on this month, because most of the money that actually they say we owe is more on interest. It's not actually on current. So that the interest that we are owing makes it difficult actually to do what, or to pay what we can afford. And Eskom, we really appeal to them that they should allow and afford Emfuleni an opportunity to pay the amount that Emfuleni is able to pay. If they can come to an agreement with us on that point, I'm definitely sure that we will not actually default on the payment, because the higher they go on saying we demand you to pay so much, it actually affects our capability to service the debt. So I hope with the help of our administrator from the province, where they are facilitating this process, let Eskom actually come to the realization that Emfuleni is capable to pay so much, and let's allow Emfuleni to pay what they can afford.
But why?
The matter of
why should you get grace? Why should you get grace for non-payment? It's your own fault. It's your own doing, regardless of whether it's historical. You took over as mayor of Emfuleni, so you took over the responsibilities.
No, listen here what I'm saying. I'm saying the issue of affordability. It is very important in this regard that Eskom, we are lobbying Eskom, province is lobbying Eskom to say, give Emfuleni an opportunity to present the table that they can be able in terms of their rate of collection, the amount that they can comfortably actually say, this one we can afford to pay. That's where technically we are. So I'm hopeful with this facilitation by the administrator. If ESCOM can agree on that, we will be able to pay our current account.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we are servicing the old debt that is actually accumulated by the interest. And that's where the problem is. It's not that Emfuleni is not honoring its debt. We are paying, unlike other municipalities, where municipalities are not able to pay. But Emfuleni has been paying. And the other technical
But you're
issue,
not paying enough. That's why Rand Water is cutting the
yes,
pressure.
we are not paying enough because they are demanding more than what we can afford.
Well, you're in this position because of your failings in your administration and keeping up with your finances. I've unfortunately run out of time. I'd actually like to try to get you into studio later on this week to answer for what's happening in that municipality. It is shocking. It's a concern. And I don't think any excuse should be acceptable given that this has been going on for so long.